Hey guys, and welcome back to the CFC Chat YouTube channel. It has been a while since I've joined you guys on here, but it has also been the international break. And as ever, it was eventful for Chelsea players. We'll get into that in a bit. But first up, to help me preview the West Brom game, which is this weekend, I have Ishan, who is joining us all the way from Canada. And he is the founder and the admin of the Chelsea blogs. Chelsea FC blogs _ page on Instagram as well as Twitter, and he has about 10,000 followers on each of the accounts.
Yeah, like 23,000 total, but I'm not going to brag.
Yeah, so basically we have a big guest on, and really excited to have you join us, Ishan. And anything to kick things off? I heard that it's the first time you're ever appearing on a podcast / YouTube channel. So excited for it?
Yeah, this is my first podcast, so I'm really excited for it, and I hope you're excited to take my podcast virginity today.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, I think the first thing we can talk about the Chelsea women's result very quickly. I think very impressive result. Personally, I did not expect us to beat last year's finalists by such a huge margin, because you look at it on the aggregate and it's 5-1. I mean, of course, if you watched the game, you could see that we had a lot of defending to do, and it probably does flatter us. But how impressed were you with our clinical result, basically? Because I certainly was, especially after the first leg. It was 2-1 and they had an away goal. So it was a neutral venue, but they did have the away goal. So I think they came into this leg as favorites, but to beat them 3-0 was incredible.
Yeah, I'm still buzzing from yesterday. Like, it was such a good win, good performance, and even after the win, you could see the emotion on Emma Hayes' face. Like, she rarely shows emotion, but she showed emotion yesterday, and the players were buzzing too. And as you said, the aggregate score kind of did flatter us, but I guess that shows that even when we're not at our best, like, we can still pump those goals in with ease. So yeah, Chelsea. If the viewers here don't watch Chelsea women yet, like, I would highly recommend it, because they're just a winning team. It's just so much fun to support them, and the stories of the players are so inspiring. You have like Fran Kirby, who's been through so many illnesses and hardships in her life, and she's like one of the best players in the world right now. So definitely start looking into them.
Yeah, 100%. But we do, of course, have a dedicated group of writers on the CFC Talk podcast, Twitter account as well as Instagram, where they consistently post, things about Chelsea women. So if you're interested in that, do check that out as well. Anyway, moving quickly into the next bit of of this video, and we're going to be talking about the international break, which has just gotten over. I think there are no matches left for the Chelsea players, and actually I do have a massive list of all the players who were involved with their country. And first up, with England, Mount started all 3 games. He did come off, but do you think that it was probably a risk starting him in all the 3 games?
Yes and no. Just starting Mount, starting any player in all 3 games is a risk, but when it's Mason Mount, it's a little less of a risk. On my Twitter, I keep saying he's Chelsea's most durable player. Like, he can play 90 minutes every game you put him in, and he'll perform at the highest level and give his all. I've never seen him not giving his 100%, even when he's like carrying an injury or something. Like, he's always just on it. So I'm glad he was taken off at halftime in the first game, because that means he's only kind of played like 2.5 games over the last few weeks. But other than that, I would have liked to see Reece James start another game, just because I love watching him play. But I'm happy that he got some rest and he can play for us instead.
Yeah, exactly. Not complaining about that. I think Reece James as well. Chilwell got a good chunk of minutes too with the England side, which is good to see. Hopefully he can build on it with us as well. Now, the under-21s, this is where it was concerning. We did get news that Hudson-Odoi came back with a shoulder injury, and I don't think Chelsea have divulged too much about the injury as well. They did release a statement, but they just said that he'll come back. So do you think it's probably just a precaution, not risking him?
Yeah, I think it's a little precautionary, but I think he might miss a game or two. Yeah, I guess we're all waiting for Tuchel's press conference tomorrow. And not just on Hudson-Odoi, even Kante's injury situation is like up in the air. Like, how bad is his hamstring at this point?
Yeah.
But hopefully, and everything.
Yeah, we do need them for the crucial Champions League tie, which we will also be quickly touching upon later. But anyway, we cannot skip the international break topic without bringing up that Werner miss. It's become such a huge talking point all across Twitter. And what do you think's going through his head right now? Because that miss was appalling and he's low on confidence, but he just, I think that he has the desire to not give up. So do you think he can hopefully do better next season?
Yeah, he definitely doesn't seem like the kind to give up. And we all should give him time. But at the same time, Tuchel keeps talking about how they work on his technique in training. And if you look at that miss, his technique is all over the place. So I think he's just like overthinking things a lot, which isn't benefiting him. I don't think he should be like, he's a player extremely low on confidence, and I don't think you can build confidence by like constantly playing him, which he has been doing so far for Chelsea. I think like benching him a few games, like making him earn the minutes that he gets, like the other players need to earn it. I think that would be more beneficial than just like trying to play him until he regains his confidence. But I think there's still a quality player in there, and when the opponent does have a high line, like we can use him to exploit that. Like he does so much more work off the ball, that like the runs he makes and everything that's so important. That I think there's definitely like use for him in the team.
Yeah, 100%. And I see you've got the kit in the background as well. I can't see the Werner kit. I was this close to buying it as well because I was a huge Werner fan before he joined Chelsea, but it's just, it's not worked out as of now. Hopefully that does change in the near future. But I think we've covered most of it. I think Rudiger started 3 games, all the 3 games for Germany as well, and kept 2 clean sheets. Of course, against Macedonia last night, that it was a bit of a disaster, the entire Germany side. But Havertz also started all 3 games, interestingly, and got a goal in the first one, an assist in the second. Do you think that he could finally be regaining his confidence and, we could see the best of Havertz, which we have been robbed of for the majority of the season now?
Yeah, I think both Havertz and Rudiger look very good. Whenever I did watch Germany, I didn't watch the North Macedonia game, so
they were awful. I managed to catch that game. Oh my word.
But yeah, the first 2 games they were good, and Havertz, just his movement and his aura on the field, like I just love that. Some people find it like lazy and stuff, but I just love that aura of confidence that he has. He's certainly coming into his own. And the fact that he got a goal and an assist and some crucial minutes to like build his fitness even more, I think that they are a good sign. And he's just 21, so even though he's played all 3 games, he did come off on the 70th minute in most of them. He's 21 years old. He's fit enough to come back and go straight into the lineup, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's about it. We did have Emerson, Giroud and Christensen also playing for Italy, France and Germany respectively. And now we are going into the injury situation. We did talk about Hudson-Odoi earlier, and you did mention Kante. So hopefully we do have to, wait for the press conference of Tuchel's, which is tomorrow. And hopefully we do get some good news that he does not miss the crucial Porto tie. But I think Mendy and Jorginho also, and Thiago Silva as well, I don't think they traveled to their national side at all. I think Mendy had a tooth operation or something. That's what Tuchel mentioned. Hopefully he's fit enough. I don't know. And Jorginho is probably just a small injury, but we do have to wait on that, because if Jorginho and Kante both aren't fit, then we could have a bit of a situation in midfield. And Thiago Silva, I think, hopefully is finally fit. We've been seeing him in training for months now, and hopefully he is finally fit enough. And I think that's about it. We have covered all our international players.
There's Tammy Abraham too, who came back from injury.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big boost, especially given Werner's kind of form. I know they don't always, like Werner doesn't always play as a center forward, but if he does, I think Tammy Abraham would provide some good competition. And
Absolutely.
Even though he's not in the best form, like he's still a threat. And I think he's very hungry at this point. He's not had the best time under Tuchel. He suffered an injury. He tried to play through that injury twice and failed. He tried to come back from that injury early and then twisted it again and had to stay the international break. He didn't get called up for England. He saw Kane, Watkins, and DCL scoring. So I'm guessing he's fired up and ready to go again.
Absolutely. And it would be a good way to shut up the critics as well, because for some reason, Tammy Abraham gets criticized so much by our fan base. And he's been a top scorer. Exactly. He's been a top scorer for 2 seasons in a row. I mean, I don't get it, honestly. But yeah, that's a good catch there. I had not included him in the list that I had made. So thanks for that. And well, I think that about covers up the international break. Now we move on to the main topic at hand, which is the West Brom game. Now, initial thoughts on West Ham, because I'm sorry, West Brom, my bad. Because the first thing that comes to my mind every time I think about West Brom is that 3-3 draw. And I was fuming at that draw. Hopefully we do get a better result this time around. But what are your initial thoughts on how West Brom are probably going to set up for this?
Yeah, that first half still gives me some nightmares. Let's hope we don't repeat that this time. But yeah, West Brom are... I don't think it will be a hard game because all they mostly do is defend. They haven't scored a goal in 7 games that didn't involve Conor Gallagher in it. So the fact that he's going to be missing is a big plus for us because he's their main attacking output, I guess. And he's a great link between midfield and attack. And he's just everywhere for them. He just runs everywhere. And I love him. But without him, I haven't seen West Brom play without him in a while, so it's hard to know what exactly to expect from an attacking sense. But from a defensive sense, they're going to just sit in that low block, attack the set pieces like they always do, and be a threat from any kind of crossing situations, I guess.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, because most of the times Chelsea fans watch West Brom play, it is for Gallagher. And, without him, there's basically no point. And I think they played a decent style of football under Slaven Bilic, but ever since Sam Allardyce has come in, they've played such boring football. And I think that's what we're probably going to see tomorrow as well. Hopefully, our attackers are fired up for this game. And, talking about that, how do you think we're going to line up for this? Because you do have to keep in mind the Porto game as well, which I think you could quickly touch up upon. Because, Mount, of course, you mentioned that he can play 90 minutes each week, but, he's basically our most important player at the moment. And God forbid something does happen to him because of fatigue. I mean, we wouldn't tolerate it. So I think, how do you see Tuchel approaching this West Brom game, knowing they're 19th in the league, knowing that they're most likely going to go down anyway? How do you think Tuchel's going to approach this game, keeping in mind the Porto game? Because I think Chelsea fans have honestly underestimated Porto. I mean, it's partly because we avoided City, we avoided PSG, and we avoided Bayern Munich. So I think everyone was too happy about that. But Porto did knock out a Juventus side, which isn't at its best, but isn't exactly, as bad as some people make it out to be. So, how do you think Tuchel should approach this West Brom game, and your thoughts on the Porto game, and then we can go into the lineups?
So I think this would be the hardest lineup to predict under Tuchel, even harder than the Wolves one, just because they've not just had international breaks, they've had injuries during the international break. They've also had players returning, and most of our players played on Wednesday night, which means Thursday is when they're traveling back, rest, recovery. Friday is the only day they can train, and Saturday is the early fixture, which is a 12 p.m. kickoff, which everyone has complained about. Pep has complained, even Lampard when he was here complained, Klopp, Ole, everyone who played a Champions League game on Wednesday and then had to turn around for Saturday afternoon has just been complaining about it. So that we need to keep that in mind. So if you don't see your favorite player starting, know that there's underlying factors for it. We don't know their fatigue, how they're going to react after coming back. So I guess we just have to keep that in mind. On Porto, it's I guess there's 2 sides to it. One, you said we avoided Man City and all the big teams, but when you think of it, we've actually played well against the big teams under Tuchel, kind of suits our style of play, versus when we go up against a low block, we find it kind of hard to penetrate them. So that's a little worrying, but at the end of the day, it is Chelsea versus Porto, and we should be qualifying 9 out of 10 times. Let's just hope it's not the 1 out of 10 this time, and we can keep the dream alive. And yeah, for predictions, yeah, as I said, it's going to be hard to predict, but hopefully we can get most of them right. Did you want to just like go straight into it?
Yep, let's get straight into it then.
Well, I think Mendy's tooth operation is done and dusted. I think he's no toothaches, hopefully. So I think he's definitely going to start along with Aspie. And this is where it's going to get interesting because Silva is back. Rudiger's played 3 games in a row. Christensen played only 2. Zuma played only 1.
Yeah.
The way I'm approaching this lineup is with Porto in mind, obviously, and also with the international fixtures in mind. So I would be looking to like play more of the people who were still at Cobham or like didn't play as much during the break. So along with Aspie, I'm gonna throw Thiago Silva in if he's fit. If not, then Christensen, obviously. And on the left center back position, I'm gonna rest Rudiger and play Zuma. Like I would prefer that. West Brom are also good from set pieces, so having aerial threat from Zuma is gonna be good for sure. Do you want to continue, or did you want to say your defense first?
Yeah, I think I basically agree with you. I think Mendy should be fit enough to play this one. Hopefully no surprises there, because I remember the Newcastle game and everyone expected Mendy to be back, but Kepa played that game. So hopefully no surprises. And we do get Mendy in goal. And actually, I quite agree with your Kurt Zuma point. So I think that it's probably going to be Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva and Kurt Zuma. But I think Christensen will probably start this one ahead of maybe, just ease Thiago Silva in. Probably, as you mentioned, we have to wait for the press conference, but even if he is fully fit, he might just rest him for the Champions League game. So I'm gonna go with Christensen personally. So I think Azpilicueta, Christensen and Zuma. But then let's move on to the fullbacks then. I think if I'll just go first, I'll say Alonso left wing back, because you mentioned that he didn't go for international duty as well. Save Chilwell for Porto. And on the right, this could be interesting, but I'll probably go for Reece James. I think it is a bit defensive, but Hudson, we don't know the situation of Hudson-Odoi, and I think Pulisic is coming back all the way from USA, so could be a bit jet lagged. Or so
I don't think the US went to US to play their games. I think they were still in Europe.
Oh, is it? Oh, all right.
Just because of travel restrictions and stuff.
All right. Then we could see Pulisic is at right wing back as well. Should be interesting. Maybe we can try that. So I'll go with Pulisic right wing back and Alonso left wing back.
Yeah, I definitely agree on Alonso. And I do think Pulisic will start, but I don't think it'll be in that right wing position. I'm probably going to be wrong. But yeah, I would prefer Reece there. It might be a little defensive, but with his crossing, like how defensive is it really? He's such a threat going forward that, it's hard to bench a player like him, especially since he's only played 1 game in the last 2 weeks. And Pulisic has been building up his confidence, and he scored a goal as well, even though it was a penalty. He still looked really dangerous. He won man of the match when he played for the US. I think it was against Jamaica, but he looked really good in those attacking areas, and I would definitely like to see him in one of those number 10 roles, or depending on the formation, they play, if they play like 2-1 versus 1-2 or whatever. Yeah. So I guess it would be Reece James, Alonso there, and I guess moving into midfield.
Yeah.
I think if Jorginho's back, I think he would have to start. And alongside him, I would ideally want Billy Gilmore to start this game because he's been at Cobham. He hasn't got much opportunities except for the FA Cup, and now we're playing Man City in the FA Cup next. And so I don't think he's going to play that game. So I guess he has to play either West Brom or Crystal Palace next week. I would not partner him with Jorginho though, just because they're both kind of like timid, like not timid, but like a little fragile on the physical sense, and they're both very similar in terms of what they bring to the team. So I would go with the Kovacic-Jorginho pairing just for this week to like keep the momentum going. I would rather put Gilmore against Palace next week when we still have built that momentum, rather than like throw him in against West Brom, who are a physical side that sit deep. Jorginho, Kovacic for me.
Yeah, I think Jorginho, Kovacic for me as well. Even if N'Golo Kante is fit, we do not know for sure, but I would still prefer him to be rested and keep him for the Porto game. It just doesn't matter. Just keep him for the Porto game. I think I'd probably agree with you. I'd also go with Jorginho and Kovacic for this one. I think they'll probably get the job done. You probably won't have too many defensive responsibilities against a side like West Brom as well, because as you mentioned earlier, they do sit very deep. So I think Jorginho, Kovacic should work for this one. And then I'll just tell the three players who I think will start in attack, and then we can know yours. You of course did mention that Pulisic will play as one of the three up front. I mentioned that I think he's going to play right wing back. Let's see how that one goes. But up front, I think Mason Mount on the left definitely must start. I did say that we have to rest him, but I think he just has to start on the left. On the right, I think it's going to be Hakim Ziyech. Once again, he has been, he hasn't been at his best, but he's definitely improved since Tuchel's come in. His Atletico Madrid performance probably was one of the better ones. I mean, he hasn't exactly been, the levels that we expected earlier in the season, because he was fantastic under Lampard in like 2 or 3 games. He was the best player on the pitch. So we haven't seen those levels again yet from him after coming back from injury, and he had a tough time. But I think him on the right, I'm going to go with Mount on the left, and I think Tammy's going to lead the line in this game. I really hope that he can come on and, make an impact, get a goal or two maybe, and, silence the haters until they'll sit under their bed waiting for him to drop another stinker. So I really hope that Tammy can come on and put in a good performance. But yeah, I think it's going to be Ziyech on the right, Mount on the left, and Tammy up front.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how many minutes Ziyech played in the international break. I tried to look it up, but there was just nothing on Morocco for some reason. I'm not sure.
Yeah. No, go ahead, man. Go ahead. I'll just check and then let you know.
For me, yeah, Mount would be crucial in this game, because the way he just finds space in between the lines is very important in games like this. Like, he brings so much to the team that I guess most people don't even see.
Yeah.
So Mount definitely starts, I guess, on the left. I'm not too sure about Ziyech in this game, just because it is a lot more physical. So I might go with like Havertz maybe in that role, or even Pulisic, just because his dribbling can like break lines too.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you said, Tammy up front, but like I would prefer Tammy up front, but I do think it might be Havertz up front. But hopefully it's Tammy and he gets his chance, because I don't see him starting in the Champions League. So hopefully he starts tomorrow.
Anyway, guys, I think that's been our video. I know that this has come after a very long time, but we're going to try and be a little more consistent this time around with previews and reviews and watch alongs as well. And if you are interested in our content and did like our content, remember to leave a like and subscribe as well. And until next time, see you guys.